my wife expressed a desire to open our marriage. As a result, I found myself with a new lover, while she now deeply regrets the decision. I never imagined our relationship would reach this point, yet here we are facing the aftermath together. We have been together for a decade and have been married for 8 years. Our journey began in college, where we met and became each other's first and only significant other. I truly believe that our relationship was something extraordinary and beautiful because of its uniqueness, but it seems that perception was solely mine. A while back, my wife started a new job at a different company. Initially, she struggled to fit in due to her naturally reserved personality. Encouraged by me, she eventually befriended a group of female colleagues, some of whom were single, divorced, or dating but not married. At first, I was pleased to see her making friends and expanding her social circle. However, her social life soon escalated as she began going out for drinks and attending parties more frequently. I became increasingly worried about this shift in her behavior and attempted to discuss my concerns with her, all the while not wanting to restrict her freedom. This change began to strain our intimate relationship. My wife had never been one to initiate intimacy, but with her constant social outings, she was either too exhausted or simply not in the mood when we were together. Eventually, her company hired a new manager who quickly became a favorite among her and her friends. She started mentioning him more often, highlighting how he adeptly handled various issues that didn't seem related to work. I became curious and somewhat uneasy about her fascination with him, so I confronted her about it. She dismissed my concerns casually. Additionally, she began questioning whether I regretted not having more romantic experiences with other women. I assured her that I had no such regrets because she was all I ever needed. For a brief moment, I noticed a hint of sadness in her eyes, but she swiftly changed the topic. She then suggested that opening our marriage could add some excitement to our relationship. This proposal shocked me because it was completely out of character for her. Initially, I refused her suggestion and wondered if her interest in an open marriage was influenced by the new manager. She denied any direct connection, but admitted that she felt she might have missed out on other experiences. At the same time, she didn't want to lose me, so she saw opening our marriage as a safer alternative. I suspected she might be courting disaster, yet I reluctantly and somewhat naively agreed to her proposal. For a year, my wife went on dates and had one-night stands. Unexpectedly, she ended up in a relationship with that very manager. On my side, I went on a few dates, but avoided one-night stands because it didn't feel right to me. Despite her occasional inquiries about my well-being, her behavior remained unchanged. Gradually, I felt the love I once had for her was fading, causing the immense inner turmoil. Eventually, I met an incredible woman who had moved from South Korea. Our connection grew, leading to several dates and ultimately intimacy. The intimacy I shared with her was unlike anything I had experienced before. She was incredibly generous and made me feel truly desirable. At first, my wife found my new relationship amusing, but over the months, she began to question the nature of my relationship with my new lover. I reminded her that it was her idea to open our marriage and pointed out her relationship with the manager as well. She remained silent, appearing as though she wanted to speak but held back. Suddenly, she started coming home early to surprise me with dinner, ensuring the house was spotless. She also began visiting my workplace to drop off lunch and took the initiative to rekindle our intimacy in the bedroom. If it weren't for her decision to open our marriage, these positive changes might have brought me joy. However, I found myself barely responding to her attempts at intimacy, doing so only to end the interaction quickly. The love I once felt for her had diminished, making our interactions feel hollow. I inquired about the sudden change in her behavior, and she claimed she wanted to demonstrate her love and happiness with me. This response seemed insincere, and I couldn't help but laugh. I questioned her about her friends, the manager, her lover, and her one-night stands, but she didn't respond that night, instead going to bed in tears. The next day, she awaited my return and confessed that she wanted to close our marriage. She admitted that opening it up was a terrible mistake and expressed regret over everything, desiring to focus solely on our relationship once more. I asked her to be honest about what had driven her to this decision initially. She revealed that a group of friends had suggested the idea, influenced by their own numerous intimate experiences. When the new manager joined, He surprisingly supported the open marriage lifestyle and encouraged her to embrace freedom. This led to an emotional affair that became physical only after opening the marriage. She likened the experience to being intoxicated while driving a speeding car, thrilling yet ultimately too costly. She realized she didn't need to compare our relationship to others and acknowledged that what we had was genuinely unique and special. However, she felt as though she had destroyed our marriage and any future we might have had together. I confessed that I might never be able to see her as my wife again, which caused her to break down in front of me. I held her silently as she cried until she fell asleep in my arms on the couch. Since then, she has left her job and severed ties with all her friends and the manager. However, I haven't ended my relationship with my new lover, who makes me feel truly valued and desired. Unsure of what to do, I long to rekindle the special connection we once shared, but my lover has been a source of support during my lowest moments. Consequently, I decided to seek therapy. The therapist seemed compassionate and experienced, appearing unbiased and genuinely eager to help. In our very first session, my wife used the opportunity to open up about everything. She confessed that her group of friends had made her feel like she had missed her chance at other experiences because she was committed to her first boyfriend without any prior relationships. When the new manager began showing interest, some of her friends encouraged her to explore this opportunity as a way to discover herself. Feeling guilty, she avoided any physical involvement until one of her divorced friends suggested that an open marriage could be a loophole, claiming that some couples emerge stronger from it. Reluctantly, she convinced me to open our marriage, leading her into an adventure that was intoxicating and blinding but lacked the genuine substance of the relationship we had built over the years. She started questioning her motives, recognizing the hurt in my eyes, but still convincing herself it was just an adventure. The severity of the situation only became clear to her when she noticed the change in me. She felt a deep pit in her stomach and began experiencing panic attacks without any apparent reason. Seeking advice from her friends once more, they dismissed her feelings as normal reactions during such an adventure. Realizing how absurd the situation had become, she begged her friends to help her win me back, but they responded coldly, saying, "If you couldn't handle it, why did you open your marriage in the first place?" It was then that she recognized these friends as toxic influences threatening our marriage and the life we had built together. Determined to mend our relationship, she has been striving to win me back by any means necessary. I didn't share much about my side of things, but I did inform the counselor about my ongoing relationship with my lover. The counselor advised that no resolution could be achieved while my lover was still involved and recommended scheduling another appointment. During our second counseling session the following day, I asked if she was certain that nothing physical had occurred before we opened our marriage. She looked down and pleaded with me not to make her discuss it, fearing it would destroy us. After some persistence, she admitted that while nothing physical happened, they did engage in mutual self-touching in front of each other. She rationalized that since it wasn't physical, it didn't technically constitute cheating. This revelation left me stunned. She began to shake and hyperventilate, tears streaming from her eyes, as she apologized profusely. Even the counselor was visibly shocked. My wife knelt down and clung to my legs, expressing her deep remorse. I then asked her what had truly changed her perception of him. She recounted an evening when she was leaving a meeting and overheard him talking to another male colleague about her. He remarked on how easy it was to attract her and described her as living proof that you can't trust the quiet ones. When the colleague inquired if he actually liked her, he responded that she was merely a pleasant distraction and that he had no intention of leaving his fiancée. He also mentioned feeling sorry for me but added, "You snooze, you lose." Upon realizing that she was nothing more than an object to this man, my wife confessed that betraying me for a fleeting thrill made her feel so guilty that she wanted to end her own life. In that moment, she revealed that she had left her workplace and vomited in the parking lot. I asked her if she loved him and when she had stopped loving me. Through her tears, she looked me in the eyes and assured me that she never stopped loving me, which only deepened the pain. She acknowledged that she had mistakenly thought it was love, and now understood how foolish she had been. Squeezing my arm with unexpected strength, she admitted her mistakes and expressed how much she missed us and the connection we once shared. She even proposed that we move away and start anew, just the two of us, as it was always meant to be. I responded by telling her that continuing the marriage wouldn't be fair to my lover, and that I needed time apart to process everything. She began to sob uncontrollably, uttering incoherent words while holding on to me desperately, fearing I would leave forever. The counselor managed to persuade her that perhaps taking some time apart could help us heal. Once we returned home, I started packing my things. My wife received a video call from one of her former friends, who was in tears. It turned out that after my wife resigned, this friend and the manager began their own affair. Complicating matters, she had a pregnancy scare. To make things worse, this friend already had a boyfriend she saw a future with, and the only reason for the fling was her curiosity about the experience. This seemed to follow a troubling pattern. Her boyfriend discovered an email between them discussing the potential pregnancy, leading the manager to accuse her of trying to trap him into fatherhood. Frustrated and disillusioned, I turned and left. Since then, I've been staying in an apartment and, on my brother's advice, consulted a divorce lawyer to protect myself. Currently, I'm not willing to fight for our marriage, and it seems my wife can sense this. Before I left, she attempted to initiate intimacy, but when I refused, she became angry and demanded, "What does your lover do for you that I can't?" I didn't respond. Shaking my head, I told her, "If you still can't understand after everything that's happened, then it's clear where our marriage is headed." And I left. The painful reality is that she would do anything to go back and undo the poor choices she made, but life doesn't work that way. I wish her the best of luck moving forward, Rain.